Alright. What's up, everybody? We got Serral up in the top right, representing Basilisk Gaming, up against herO in the bottom left, representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming. And this is a best of 3 match from the group stage, essentially to see who's going to get first place in Group C, because these guys are the 2 favorites of the group. Whoever wins this match likely to be first place and going right to the round of 8, while the loser much more likely to be going straight into the round of 12. And herO is opening up with a naughty build. So immediately going out for a proxy, gate, gas, and then queuing up to 18 probes. So is it 18 pylon? 18 pylons going to go down up here. So this has got to be some sort of proxy gate to be this early in the game. Now you could technically 4-gate, and that would be what we call a throw, where we would start questioning if herO took gambling money and had a bet against himself. I don't think there's any way that would work, because the Overlord's always going to arrive, see no Nexus, and be like, hey, wait a second. But I guess the second gateway can allow you to do some stuff. Does need to pull a probe down to get that Cybercore started. He's a little slow on pulling the probe, which means he can't wall off with it, or he delays it even longer. herO, sloppy execution on the build. That's going to delay his adepts by just a little bit, so little small mistake for him there. Serral, he's about to get wind of this. When he comes in and sees no Nexus, he's going to be freaking out a little bit. And I imagine this is just to do some very early adept pressure. You chrono an adept from here, chrono an adept from there, and you basically surprise them with very 2 early adepts and then another 2 adepts behind it. And from there, you play a quote-unquote standard game. You've got a later Nexus, a slower probe count, but you've done more damage. Maybe you deny Serral's 3rd base even from going down, which could be very effective. And you take it from there. I don't know what the follow-up will be. It could be just a delayed glaives. And if he keeps this up long enough, this gateway, that could be effective. What I love is he can always warp in adepts there or here. It's hard to get at the pylon with the Zerglings, and killing a gateway, a 1,000 hit point structure with 1 armor, is incredibly difficult. Now, herO made a mistake. He chronoed the gateway on the front. He should have chronoed this adept here, I believe. Unless, I guess he wants to go for the surprise. It just seems kind of weird to chrono this adept. No, it's not a mistake. He's clearly focusing on chronoing the adepts from the front. Oh, okay. Very interesting. He wants the surprise. It actually gets there before the queen's even out. Oh, if his Cybercore was a few seconds early, he would have had even more chance to do damage here. Goes after that. Nice micro by Serral. Serral only loses a single drone there. Lovely defense by the Finnish player. And the adept comes out and takes a few more hits as well. Bit of a mistake there for herO. He's going to have to wait for these next shades to come in. Zergling goes in for the scout. There is an adept out there. Double gas is mining, and herO is probing behind it. 25 drones versus 23 probes. Serral's in the lead. herO needs a little bit more damage here, but uh-oh. That adept is very exposed. He's going to try and micro around. Notice Serral keeps the queen on creep. Doesn't want to go off creep there. Careful, Serral. Does move off creep for a moment and misses on a few hits because of that. Notice he's target firing the weak adept. Good pullback on the drones. Does lose one of them and does get into the natural. Another drone goes down. Very good pullbacks with the workers and the lings, though. The queens are going to put some damage on these adepts, and it looks like Serral should be defended. He's got ling speed almost done as well. herO needs to be very careful to not get surrounded by those Zerglings. On the other hand, the droning needs to pick up for Serral here, because he's very down on the workers from where he'd like to be. And of course, herO is going to be holding that probe key down behind this. We've got 2 probes building at a time. He's now making resonating glaives. So he's just trying to hang out at the front and threaten 4 small Zerglings from Serral. And that's exactly what he's getting. Serral, I would say, is overreacting here, building at 20 Zerglings already. The problem is, herO doesn't really want to fight for another minute. And that's when he's going to have way more adepts coming in off these 3 gateways. Serral is going for a roach warrant as well off 27 drones. So you can tell Serral thinks he's like maybe being all in. He's really paranoid and he's overbuilding Zerglings. This is a big issue. I really feel like herO is getting a big lead. On the other hand, his door is wide open. herO likes to leave that door wide open as an invite for Zergs to break into his house and steal all of his valued possessions. Those adepts should be able to shade out just barely. Whoa, barely do survive, but they are heavily damaged. Other adepts do come in, and as we said, that pylon positioning very clever here. A couple of Zerglings go down. The Zerglings are buying time for Serral, but he's got to be careful, man. He's only on 26 drones versus 37 probes. Now, herO doesn't know that, but seeing so many Zerglings, if he just chills and defends, I mean, herO's actually ahead. He doesn't need to commit, but if he overcommits and gets surrounded, does he hide the Zergling number? Serral's shown quite a lot of lings there. I'm watching from herO's vision, because if he sees all the lings, he'll know that he should just back off and make upgrades. And he's got Robo, Forge, Gas, probes coming in. A little bit supply blocked. Normally you lose adepts pretty early from fighting, but look at that. Notice how some of the lings are hiding to the left side. Serral's going to try and keep taking that gateway down if possible. This is a lot of adepts right here, but as the roaches, the ravages, and more lings come out, it'll be a bit questionable. And definitely not going to be worth committing anymore. Serral on 35 drones, trying to make a few ravages. If he can hold the adepts in place and bile, then that'd be big. And ooh, Link's coming to get a Nexus cancel. And there's nothing in the wall. Oh my god. Okay. herO is still warping in adepts on the front. herO getting a little bit horny right here. He might need to rein it in, zip up his Protoss pants, and just make sure he goes to the next step. If he gets a third base, Serral's dead in the water. Serral has no lair. He has no follow-up to this. Serral is basically just hoping herO throws these adepts away so that Serral has map control again and can do what he wants. He's going to dive on these Zerglings. A very brave commitment for herO. I mean, they do massacre the Lings. The Ravages didn't land any biles or anything. It seems like a pretty good fight for herO. Even though I was saying he just needs to back off, he's like, yeah, I get a good fight anyway. And he's going to get a few drones here as well. 1-2 drones. And maybe get a queen here on the way out. Very nice. Doesn't want to lose all the adepts, though. He's going to lose that gateway on the front. Potentially 2 more adepts warping in. Nice reaction by Serral. Doesn't throw those units away. Cancels this shade and starts trying to walk away from the Roaches, Ravages, and Lings that are going to make it very hard to escape. Now, of course, hero's way ahead on the workers. The problem is Serral's on 3 base. And he's walled himself in at home. So herO, he's still got the gateway up, but he's just given up all of his map control. And now Serral can hold the drone key down, make a lair, recover in the tech. And it's like, herO, you got to get that third base. You can't waste this much time. He's going to go for a Dark Shrine as well. Kind of bit of a gambly play. I really feel like he built himself a solid lead in this game. Overlord goes down. Gateway gets depowered. Not staying to kill the gateway itself. And there's going to be an Adept Prism drop. Finally getting another layer of pressure in there. Serral has closed the gap on the work account. He still has 4 Ravagers and 30 Zerglings out, which is a great mobile defense squad. But herO not showing a lot of urgency on getting the third base is making me wonder if he's doing an all-in. And now he's going for 7 gateways on 2 base. I don't think that makes sense, because Blink +1, there's no... You can't do a good Blink all-in from this situation, can you? It feels like it's too far away. Because he's got his tech diversified way too much. I think herO's play is definitely a little bit confounding to me. Does get 4 drones. That was a lovely bit of harassment. I'm struggling to figure out what herO's goal is in this scenario. Serral, of course, is also struggling. He's like, what are you... It's a pretty late third Nexus. Like, what's going on here? He's going to morph an Overseer to scout everything else as well. And that's pretty good because he will see the DT Shrine in time. herO's going to maybe try and warp DTs into the corner of the base. Oh, nice F2 there for herO. Does take advantage and drops into this undefended mineral line. Oh man, another 3 worker kills. Serral's got to clean up his defense here. This is... I really feel like herO's third being so delayed should have ruined him. Did he just cancel the third again? He just canceled the third again. Look how delayed that is. The Lings ran across, canceled the third one more time. herO's third is so late, even with this damage. I don't know, man. This game is getting so bizarre. Definitely feels like he caught Serral off guard and got in a good position. The problem is that herO kept leaning into the aggression against the guy who is better than anybody else at stopping follow-up aggression, right? Serral likes to lock things down and be very stable and defensive. He's not a greedy Zerg. Even when he's behind, he plays very safe, very carefully and methodically, and feels like herO's maybe been throwing a few units away a little bit willy-nilly. He's going to come in with the shade here. The distraction shade. The Adepts pick off 2 drones. They do get saved. DT runs in the natural. 4 Roaches and an Overseer. Serral says, you know I already Overseer scouted your Dark Shrine, right, buddy? And of course, herO are going to be a little bit annoyed at that. Those Adepts should cancel that shade. Otherwise, it's a one-way trip. And indeed, he's going to just sack him. Oh, he's going to get a few more drones. Not too bad. Feels like a lot of workers in total have died this game. 17 drones. But the fact that Serral had the third up and herO's is only now saturating, that is, of course, the advantage for Serral. Cleans up the gateway, manages to stabilize, and he finds himself in a stable situation after one of the most hectic early games I'm sure he's experienced in a long while. Behind this, second Robo Bay goes down as well, so going into either Disruptor or Colossus play for herO. He's also got 5 Immortals, which are very powerful units. But the Roaches are going to be complemented by Banelings in the near future. Only in a single Evo making range upgrades for Serral right now. Wouldn't be surprised to see him get a second Evo. He's trying to warp in Zealots on the front. A crazy move for herO. And oh my god, he barely saves those Immortals. herO known for those wild moves. The Zealots would have protected him from Zerglings and maybe got a 4th base snipe. Doesn't quite manage to pull that one off. And the hallucinations go through. He sees no Spire. He saw also the second, or actually Infestation Pit going up. Serral going to go for a Hive, which is fantastic. Does he know about the Robo Bay? He does not know about the Robo Bay. It looks like he lost his Overseer. But if he gets a Hive started, then he can go for Vipers. And Vipers wreck Disruptors. They wreck Colossus even harder. Colossus are so expensive. 2 of those building at a time right now. Second Evo Chamber's on the way for Serral as he goes into melee upgrades after his +1 range. And cannon is going up on the 3rd base. We've also got cannon and battery potentially building over here on the 4th. Extended thermal lance does come in. It looks like a big Stalker Colossus timing, and that could actually work very well. If herO moves out with the first 2 Colossus, I think he can win this game. The problem he's going to run into is if he waits for 4 Colossus, which is usually what people do, or if they make Disruptors after these 2 Colossus and wait for them, Vipers might be out in time. I think herO has a window with the Immortal count he has, good section of Stalkers, a few Force Fields, a few Colossus. I think he could roast Serral's army. Serral gets us surrounded some Stalkers. Nice moves there. 3 Stalkers, or 2 Stalkers, sorry, going down. Just a couple of Zerglings. It's a lot of Roach Ravager. And right now, herO's out of position. He doesn't see this army coming. Oh, no! herO! He's got to move that Prism and get out of there. Okay, the Prism does start to move away. The cannon goes down. He will defend this base. herO, very good positioning there. Zergling Ravager turns around. Oh, no! Banelings rolled in the left at the same time. It was all the distraction. The classic 1-2 punch distracts the caster. It also distracts herO, and herO losing 14 probes. He's now even angrier than ever, and he wants to chase this army down. He does have 2 Colossus out. 2 more are building right now. They're a little while away, though, and Zerglings are going to keep doing run-bys. Serral's got a giant wave of Banelings making. I'd love to see him break these rocks so we can flank any push on that right side of the map. The rocks still are not getting taken down as frequently on these new maps as they should. It's just something the players aren't thinking about. But as a Zerg player, you always want as many openings as possible. 2 Vipers are building right now. They will not have Abduct when they come out. And I think this means herO has a killer timing. I don't know if Serral can defend this. The Banelings are going to need to be extraordinary. He's got a few Ravagers to break Force Fields. There's not that many Force Fields either, actually. The first Force Fields do slow down the advance, but that is all of the Force Fields that he has. He used a Guardian Shield, which I think was not the right call. Against this army, there's very little range damage. The most important thing is not to get hit by the Banelings, and that's why Force Field is a much more important ability to buy you time there. The army's a little bit spread out for herO. The Vipers are out for Serral. He gives up the base. He's got 2 Abducts available to him. Oh, Ling Bane coming in with the Roaches. Abduct on a Colossus. It immediately gets picked up by the Prism. Amazing micro with that Warp Prism, but my god, there's just too many Banelings without Archons to soak up those Banes or Force Fields. It's just too much Zerg, maybe? But wait, no. He's doing pretty well. Oh, he accidentally moved towards the Biles. Oh, he's going to try and warp in a few more Stalkers, but that means he is a bit exposed to the Corrosive. Biles landing, more Stalkers warping in. It is such a close fight. Serral looks like he's just barely going to be able to overwhelm. The Warp Prism does survive for now, though. The Stalkers do hold on to their position. Very nice micro by herO. He's going to blink across the gap, warp in some more Stalkers, and he's going to maybe go again. But no, he holds down the probe key. It looks like he's going to back off from here. The Vipers survived, though. Those Vipers did not die, which means herO either needs to go all in or run away and go home. He cannot do both. He's warping in Zealots, which are not going to be useful in this scenario. He's already got the anti-Zergling unit. He needs nothing but Stalkers and to hit as hard as he can. But he pulled back. He's only got 7 gateways for warp in, and oh no, the Prism tries to save, but it can't save that Reddit point Colossus quick enough. They go down way too fast. The amazing Prism pickups that saved him earlier not going to work out here. And that is why hanging out in Zerg territory when you know they have 2 Vipers alive, a huge mistake for herO. I love this move. Just harassing from the low ground. Does lose 1 Stalker there, but getting a few Roaches and Drones potentially. Gonna use the mobility and range advantage on those Stalkers off creep. Got a single Swarm Host that did pop out. Where the hell did he? He's down here. Did he throw Locusts? I don't even know. For some reason, there's a Swarm Host on the other side of the map. Lowry, the accidental Swarm Host, indeed, is on that side of the map. Abducting Stalkers. Serral, very smart, realizing any free unit kill here is massive because he knows that herO can't continue to advance. Larry does go down, sadly. Of course, always a unit that accidentally gets hit when you're going to select your hatcheries and build other units. We often see one of those pop out, and obviously a complete accident for Serral. But Serral's got double the army supply. He's on lots of Roaches, Ravages with +1. And with the Zerglings coming out with +1 melee and +2 on the way, feels like herO needs to round out his style. And usually in this scenario, you get a few High Templar to feed back the Vipers, and then you just get Archons and Disruptors with Zealots. But herO is like, no, I'm going to stay on Mass Stalker, and that is not really a comeback composition. Stalkers, if you can find an avenue for fantastic micro, I mean, we've seen Parting, we've seen herO make dreams come true with Mass Stalker, but it does feel like Serral's far enough ahead of the curve on the army for it to not matter. On the other hand, his economy kind of not that high. 59 drones for Serral, not rebuilding a 5th hatchery. He's planning to do an all-in. I mean, not really an all-in, but a very committed attack. To not be probing up here against the Protoss going 5 base, he has to do killer damage. herO is way out of position right now. herO is way out of position. Uh-oh. Is he going to recall that whole army or not? He could get trapped. He could get trapped here. Uh-oh. herO way out in enemy territory. This is a huge mistake for herO right now. Banelings roll into that left side, only get a few probes. He's going to try to recall, but oh man, so many Stalkers go down. That brings that Stalker kill count up to 43. One of them trying to do a bit of a walkabout into the main base, and is going to get taken out as well. Remember, Adrenal Glands has now been upgraded. These Zerglings are absolute killers. +2 melee is almost there as well. The Vipers with some Abducts could be fantastic. Roachling Bane doing exactly what it can. The Ravager's coming forth as well. Let's see what he goes for. Abduct on the Archon. Can't pull that bad boy back. Another Archon morphing in the fight. It is exposed at the front line. This one down the bottom doing pretty well for itself. There is a DT in the mix, doing a fair bit of damages. There's no Overseer here right now, and no Overseers even indeed on the map, but he could always just blow up some Banelings to take it out. Does Serral do it? Oh no, the Overseers do arrive. Never mind, I'm blind. There are Overseers. They're just on the middle of that units tab where my eyes weren't looking. And the Stalker's trying to pull back, but Serral just has too much stuff. I really thought that Colossus timing he would struggle with. But at the end of the day, Archons or Force Fields I think were needed to just stop a lot more of those Banelings from connecting. Those 36 Banelings cleared that big push, and Serral was able to dominate from there. He takes map 1. All right, that was a really cool opening for herO in game 1. I do think in hindsight, though, he saw how many units there were. If he didn't commit with that Adept Shade and was just happy to pull back and take his third base, I think he's in a massive advantage. And the fact that Serral doesn't have a lair would have made him feel very, very weak in that last game. So I do think if there's one crucial moment we can look back at, it looked like an okay fight, but it was the fact that he just could never secure his third afterwards that really took what I think should have been a massive advantage for herO, and it allowed Serral to get back in that game, and seems like at the end of it even turn it to his advantage. I still think it was a pretty close match where maybe a few more sentries warped in, or, you know, something like that, or like it could have definitely made a difference. The Colossus saves were pretty awesome. Now, Serral's natural gets blocked, goes to take the third base. herO sees he's not bringing another drone down, so he goes back just to confirm. And we'll go into the main and do a bit of harassment. This is Gresvin. Rather long map. Now, the big macro style that most players like to play is kind of Zealot. Archon is... Well, not most players, but a lot more players have been doing a Zealot Archon with quick disruptor style of macro that's very turtley for Protoss. It doesn't really suit herO style, but there are times where he'll try some crazy Zealot or Archon shenanigans, and he'll transition into that if he goes for one of these Zealot openings. For now, though, does get his Nexus down. He's going to go for that Cybercore right afterwards. Now, there was a few people asking about the Banelings and how they try to move through the enemy army in that last game. And, you know, why do they move the Banelings past the enemy army? Why does Serral do that rather than just A-moving? The reason is, if you A-move, they're all going to blow up on a single Stalker at the front of the army. But if you move them past the Protoss army, they get right up into the midst of the army where they're hitting 4, 5, 6 Stalkers, maybe 6 Stalkers and a Colossus, sometimes 9 Stalkers and a Colossus if they get right in the middle of there, as opposed to blowing up and hitting maybe 2 Stalkers on the front of the army. If you just A-move Banelings, they're not particularly effective. You can do it versus Terran because Marines are so fragile and you have so many Zerglings in the mix that they naturally do okay. But against Protoss, you really want to make sure you get in the middle of those units because it takes a lot of Banelings to take those Protoss units down. They also do get to tank a lot of shots as they're running forwards, which does help. But you got to be careful not to run them straight past the army. Serral ran about 4 or 5 of his Banelings, didn't get killed by the army, and ended up running straight past the army and kind of blowing up, not really next to anything. But, I mean, out of 36, 40 Banelings, not that big of a deal. Stargate is on the way now. And we've got an Adept coming out. He's going to do the old sneaky shade. Serral says, ooh, did he commit to the shade or not? I don't know. We, of course, can see that herO did commit to the shade. But that means if Serral was waiting to run in with a Zergling, he wouldn't know if there's an Adept waiting to greet him on that ramp or not. So just good hiding of information while focusing all of his chronos on probes. And now, as the Stargate finishes, it'll be all the chronos into the Oracle. So he's got 1 chrono coming up here, and then he'll have another chrono in maybe about 40 seconds for that second Oracle as well. So there we go. Chrono should be going down. Perfect timing. And after you start an Oracle, you always start a Pylon. So that Pylon is going down. Adept coming back here. Sees that third hatchery on the low ground. Adept is going to shade up into the main base. Take a little look around. He could commit. The Queen's out of position. That Queen was pretty far out of position for Serral. A little lazy. But players very rarely commit to that shade. So Serral knew it was unlikely to be something he got punished for. Second Oracle is already on the way. And as I said, that next Chrono Boost does arrive shortly after that second Oracle starts. Let's see if he gets it in straight away. Seeing just how tight herO is on his build order. Looks like, nope, not going to be using that. And he's actually freezing up on probe production as he puts a third Nexus down and focuses on the Oracle. Not the most pristine or macro, I should say here, for herO. As he misses that chrono entirely. Finally puts it on, and now is the third one. And trades a lot of hit points for 2 drones. So arguably a little bit tighter on the play for Serral. But 2 drones is not nothing. That can stack up. He's also building a spore in every base, as well as a 6th queen. 6 queens and 3 spores. It's quite expensive. Serral's playing ultra safe against the oracles, knowing that herO likes to build many of them. Forge goes down behind this, as well as the 3rd and 4th gas, which means that herO is going to be doing a higher tech follow-up. Usually that means a blink style. He could play charge and want to go for early Archons with the 4 gas, but more likely the 4 gas does lead into Stalkers. One tell that it's charged is if you see a very early Robo. Very early Robo often means early Prism. Prism is usually used to launch those Zealot Archon attacks across the map. It could be anything here, of course, still. There's no way to know for sure, but just a few things to keep your eye on. Roach Warren's on the way. Lair has not started. Serral loves that very late Lair in this matchup, always focusing on economy and safety first and foremost. Very good micro there. Sorry, just having a sip of me water, guys, as my voice has been a little bit all over the place lately. Pretty lazy with my voice control. Voice coaches out there are like, dude, control that voice, speak properly. And it's been something I've been pretty lazy on lately. I really got to get myself a nice standing desk setup, I think, to keep that going. But as it is, Overlord is going to get picked off in the main base. It is indeed Blink, 4-gate, and a very early Robo Bay hidden in the back of the natural. Oh, Ling's coming in. Oh, gets a Stalker. That's a juicy pickoff. Makes the Oracle turn on its laser beam. A few Lings pay the price for that, but nothing to be too upset about. 3 Oracles into Blink, into second Robo as well. Is he doing the exact same style? I mean, this is cool because it's going to be so much faster than the last game. The problem is Serral's scouting so good, and he's so good at making reads, and he's only seen 1 Stalker. So if you're Serral, look at his scouting. He's already seen 6 gases and no Stalkers. So he knows there's something very high-tech coming. He doesn't know what it is yet, but he's like, dude, what are you doing? He sees a few Stalkers. herO's like, look, I'm playing Stalkers. It's a normal build. There was a Chrono Boost there. Not sure if Serral noticed that or not. Seeing it through the fog, something I could see in the replay. Don't know if he'd be able to see that in-game. Sometimes there are things where you can barely see certain animations just outside your vision in the fog. It's a bit inconsistent, though. Infestation goes down. Oh, Serral. That is a very quick infestation, and he's like, yep, I'm going to go straight for Vipers again and counter any of that double Robo play. He doesn't know about the double Robo. He's going to find out soon, but he'll be very happy that he's got the infestation because then he can rush Vipers and shut it down. Look at this. Comes in, sees the double Robo. Let's go to Serral's camera. He sees it. He looks at home. 8 more drones coming out for his 4th base. Bailey Nest on the way. And when that infestation finishes, that hive is going to start up instantly. You guys didn't even see it because Serral's screen is so fast, but you can see it on the production tab in the top left. He's already started the hive. Another 8 drones. He's going to go to 80+ workers and then do nothing but mass Ravager Baneling. And I imagine make a few Vipers to abduct the heck out of herO. herO, does he have his own scouting? Does he see this? He does. Very important that herO sees the hive. Okay, so herO, he could go with 2 Colossus like I was talking about in the last game right now. Maybe he can go with 4 Colossus, but he'll need to hit with real urgency if he wants to get there pre-Viper. Now, he doesn't have any sentries. It's pure Stalkers and Colossus, and we saw that Mass Baneling can smash that army like in that last game if you're forcing your way on creep with no force fields. And rather than adding more force fields or Archons, herO's saying, screw it, I'm just going to go as quickly as possible. I've got 2 Colossus, I've got 2 more on the way. He does already have that Warp Prism out, which is very good. He started that early. You don't want to have your push delayed waiting for that. Oracle's going to go for a little Stasis Trap pressure. Serral with a quick response lets 1 drone take that, chumps that for the team. Queen's take out that guy. Does get a Stasis off on a few workers, but nothing that Serral's too worried about. The push has not moved out. And the hive is done. Oh god, this is a real race for the tech right now. Can herO hit the timing attack? If herO wanted to, he could have just gone Templar Archives, taken a 4th base, gone for feedback, and played a longer game. But he is 100% committed right now. 4 Colossus walking out. Oh no, he's walled himself in! herO! Oh my god, okay, he's only got 3 Colossus. Apparently he cancelled one of them? I thought he was going for 4 of them. Maybe an accidental cancel. I'll have to go back and check that in the replay. But here we go. Stalkers coming forwards. Oracles as well. Does get hit by one Bile, but not in a big way. Going to push back the creep spread. Serral does not have that many Banelings this time around, and his Vipers are only just popping. Once again, herO is finding the point just before the Abducts are available. Let's see what he can do with it. The Oracle's using that Revelation. The Stalker Colossus coming forward. The Spore Crawler getting shot down. The Banelings and Queens starting to fall here. The Viper's desperately trying to get Abduct energy. He's got enough for just one Abduct. One Colossus gets pulled to the left side. Prism not able to save it this time around. One Colossus going down. It's pure Stalker Colossus up against this Roach Ravager Baneling army. Remember, Colossus don't do that well versus Roaches and Ravagers. They're only really good versus the Zerglings, and they're okay versus the Banelings. The Oracles have all fallen. There's two Colossus and a pack of Stalkers left. He's trying to warp in more to the left, but the Vipers come in with yet another Abduct. And Serral with the perfectly timed Vipers. He scouted so well. He saw what was coming, and he shut it down with Roach, Ravager, Baneling, and Vipers being added on top. herO here being a little bit too one-dimensional. I really felt like herO would outsmart Serral in this tournament in a best of 5 by being very tricky. But in this series, he's been scouted, and rather than changing gears and shifting into a tricky style, he just does the same thing and tries to make it work. And it has not worked. Serral scouting, his reactions were way too good. And now, Serral's still on 80 drones. He's getting more Abducts. And he's just building more of the same army. herO's play is looking incredibly uninspired. Now, don't get me wrong. herO might not be too worried about losing a match. He might want to use his best builds. Because this is not a bracket stage match. He's got to save his best builds for playing Reina and Serral in the final 12 of the tournament. Losing a match, though, may mean he has to play one extra round, but he does feel like, to me, he's playing a little bit stiff, and Serral is just shutting him down left, right, and center. I don't see this army scaling well against this. Archons, like the High Templar Archives is what you need. He blinks forward, takes out a Viper, but he's going to get his Stalkers punished so hard for that. The Viper's trying to abduct there, but there's a funny little mechanic. He was trying to abduct on the Nexus, and there was no room to abduct the Colossus, so the Viper was actually bugging out. Nice hot pickups for herO, but yeah, it's not going to be enough. He's just too outnumbered, and that is going to be a devastating, convincing victory. Nice, solid defensive play. herO didn't have to show anything. He just played Roach, Ravager, Bane, good scouting, good defense. herO may not have showed his best builds, but you can see that Serral's standard play beats herO's maybe a little uninspired play. It's a good push. It probably beats most Zerg players out there, but it's not good enough to catch Serral off guard. Serral just looking absolutely monstrous with that scouting and taking out the best Protoss player in the world with a 2-0 by the looks of it. herO won't give up because his name is herO and he micros real good, but it doesn't matter how well you micro. herO cannot make up for this numbers disadvantage. The Immortals getting swarmed, and the GG well played comes out.